So let's talk about COVID and 2020 then. I asked everyone this, what happened at the point of, for each person's point where they realized that there was a tangible, concrete change to their lifestyle as a product of COVID. And your story is quite unique in this regard. Do you want to say what you were doing or where you were at the point that the worldwide restrictions related to COVID kind of formed into a tangible reality?
Yeah. So the plan was to go back to Wudang, and I didn't want to fly. So I bought tickets to go across the Eurasian continent by train all the way to China on the Trans-Siberian Railway. I booked everything, and then, the early outbreak in China happened. It came to February 4th, and then I was kind of in this immense kind of decision of, am I really going to go to Hubei province, which is the source of the outbreak, Wuhan? Wudangshan is 300 kilometers away. It's not that close, but Wuhan, Wudang, it's the same Wu, it's the same god that Zhengwu that I mentioned earlier that overlooks this area. So in hindsight, it's a pretty ridiculous idea that I decided to go out and travel across the world via train to try and get into Hubei province. The virus at that point was still the China virus, as it was just within China. And so the risk was, in my mind, to me, I wasn't going to be bringing, the virus to China. And so, yeah, I set off, and, with a lot of kind of decision paralysis, even on the morning of the trip, I was calling people. I was like, am I really going to do this? And they said, yeah, go for it. And I got some kind of counsel that, you can always turn back and thing. Yeah, again, I'd say that's kind of the serendipitous, we could call it luck, but you also kind of, if you have the intention and act upon it, I do feel like the universe can, receive that and then reciprocate. And so, yeah, I set off on this journey across Siberia and Russia, which is a crazy world. The average temperature in Siberia in the winter is minus 25 degrees. And, for an Englishman that panic buys socks when it gets cold, that is quite a challenge. And so it was an incredible experience, actually, because I met a shaman who was kind of the manifestation of the spiritual wisdom of that remote land device, and had wonderful conversations with him about kind of who we really are as being one part of nature, which the Taoists talk about as well. So that turned out to be a kind of wonderful confirmation of kind of the spontaneous spiritual insights from different cultures from around the world. And yeah, taking the train rather than flying. When you fly, you have a nap, you eat some rubbish tasting ready meal, you watch a low res film, and you arrive. Whereas on the train, it took me 3 weeks to get across Eurasia, and I really got a sense for how the nature and the culture changed on my journey. And then, yeah, Russia closed its borders with China. I managed to get to Korea, and then managed to get into Shanghai. Hubei province was locked down within China, so I was locked down in Shanghai for 6 weeks. But I spent time with Wu Ming, who's a Chun style Tai Chi teacher. And so that was a wonderful experience for me. Again, like a very generous and wonderful person, learning some Chun style. And then eventually I arrived on the mountain. So by that point, my hometown, Bristol, had been locked down, and my family and my 5 of my family got the virus. And then I had somehow made it to the Tai Chi mountain in safety and serenity. So yeah, I couldn't have planned any of it, but yeah, it was a funny way that things turned out.
So where were you when you heard that UK lockdown? Where were you at that point?
I was in Shanghai.
You're in Shanghai, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to thank you, because for me, being locked down in my home in Oxford, not being able to train with my Wudang brothers and sisters here, that I really needed to see someone in movement, being stuck and constrained. Yes. So it was really nice to watch your videos and see your progress. I think that really helped me being stuck in one place. Yeah, yes. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people kind of felt that they kind of lived vicariously through, they could,
Yeah.
that is one of the kind of the wonderful things that I'm very grateful for in this journey is I just see the camera as a medium through which like we are connected. And so to be able to bring the healing power and magic of this wonderful place to the world is a great honor for me. And so it's something that I'm very grateful for and enjoy.
And what's your sense from being in Wudang for majority of 2020? I imagine it was quite an empty mountain to be on, relative to the years before, and indeed, it continues 2021. What was your sense of the people who live in Wudang? Were they missing the influx of visitors? Were they enjoying the peace and quiet?
Yeah, I think that, certainly from the people that I talked to, there was this kind of wonderful space that opened up. And I think that people here with the first lockdown experienced that, hearing nature again and little cars on the road. And I think the monks in the temples who kind of are bombarded with tourists actually very much enjoyed the calm and serenity. And for us, just having very little buses going past and just having this very special time actually to be in nature. And Master Gu's school is on the mountain and you're on the doorstep with wonderful, I was saying earlier about meeting different species of animal every trip I'd go on. So every walk, every afternoon, I'd meet like praying mantises, monkeys, deer, hogs, an abundance of insects. Just with little people there, that was a very special experience because it just was very calm and tranquil. But then, the majority of visitors in Wudang are Chinese. And so China sorted out COVID. They locked everyone down for 7 weeks and then they shut the borders and then they reopened. And so relatively quickly, come the summer, life was back to normal, minus the foreigners. So that was tough for some school like Master Gu's, who, kind of relies on foreign students. And so, kind of financially, that was difficult for him and difficult for other Kung Fu schools on the mountain. But I think kind of in terms of picking up the pace of normal life, China gets quite busy quite quickly. So it was back to normal.